Okay, so this is just going to be a small update here. This is the C3 big block swap here. Had to go back and redo a couple things with the radiator and these pulleys and things. Right now I just got the fuel pressure regulator set up here, and the fuel lines, and I've got the coolant lines coming up. But I went with an aftermarket bracket here to move the alternator to the passenger side. We've got billet pulleys, and he's got that Eldebrock Victor short water pump. Got a Victor series 454 intake high rise, and then this is got that real big 5 or 6 inch cowl hood. Same thing here. The big thing was had to get this last minute here thing on this radiator, and there's a fan set up here that's in the middle of this too. Originally this guy had just got an aftermarket Northern, really good racing style intake, and radiator, but the inlet and outlet hoses are not angled right on them. Down here you can kind of see how it's kind of got that curved kink. It goes up for the big block hose down here. And it's hard to see it going in there up to the hose, but I couldn't get it to connect with the other one, and then you can see the other side still not connected. I'll go over there and have a little look, but you can see the way this water neck is facing this way, and this neck for the actual outlet into the intake here, it curves up like that. And then I have the aftermarket bracket with the power steering pumps new. Went with a threaded keyway, makes it a little easier taking the brackets off and on and getting shims and getting it all lined up here like it is. I may end up, because this is kind of a long length between the alternator and the crank and the water pump belt, I might put like another tensioner pulley down there if it starts getting too erratic and out of control. Got the MSD small cap and blaster coils up there in the corner. The box is actually in the car, but he had this little small tube fin aftermarket transmission cooler, and I ordered a B&M super cooler, the biggest one they have. I'll be doing that next. But here with the radiator, the big thing was his radiator. This is the aftermarket one he had. You can see how it's just a straight. The small block late 70s are still straight like that, but even the bottom one, this is curved in, but it's not curved up. And so when the radiator tilts forward, then it's like pointed down. You can't really get a hose. There's nothing made like that. He was using those ugly flex hoses. Trying to get the header set up here. That's another kind of bigger issue upcoming here next. These are these Hedman full-length 2-inch headers. I kind of marked here. It's really tight along the gearbox, and I have to actually dimple those in a little bit, but that looks like that might be the only spot. Also down on the pitman arm, I think it might need to get adjusted too. But I've restored the original core support and painted it and everything, and I got to get the foam seals that go in between everything. But after the power steering pump and the fuel lines are done here, and I got the carburetor to still plumb up, and then the coolant hoses, be able to get some coolant in here. And went through a lot of hose trials there at the store, see if anything would work, and I ended up getting these aftermarket ones for the big block GM. They're GM stamping. There's one This upper hose is actually laying with all them there. It's got a GM stamping, and I was putting a spring inside so that the tube doesn't kink or anything. And that'll line up this inlet here. I'm gonna go with this new, looks like a 750 vacuum secondary carb. And long ways to go still, but this has been a very slow process of back and forth, and just right now kind of wanted to update that. Have the brackets on, power steering pump, belts are on, hoses are not yet totally plumb, fuel line, do the carburetor, don't add the coolant, and once we do that I'm going to prime the fuel system. One way I was going to say that I do mine for the actual fuel pump is the fuel lines down here coming off. I'm going to go with some hard line here eventually, but the rubber hoses are temporary to get this going. But if you get like a Walboro, basically electric fuel pump, you can just hook it up to a 12-volt battery. You put one hose on one end, on the other, and then I drained all the fuel out of the tank, and then I use this to prime the system too, to get it to go up to the carb and stuff, so that we can get it started, because it won't have an electric fuel pump. It's got a mechanical fuel pump down there. I think it's like 130 gallon an hour Holley. Got the new alternator on there too. Hopefully this aftermarket radiator works out for us. Otherwise, that's kind of where this is for now. Just kind of like an update. Had a lot going on, health and family issues, and trying to get this just in full swing here to end the summer, getting this done so we can maybe go to a car show or cruise around before it gets to be the fall.